My stuck-up brother-in-law called me an off-brand Stormy Daniels at Christmas dinner, so my husband slapped him in the face. My brother-in-law Jack has never quite known how to keep certain thoughts to himself. In the past, he's referred to my sister as his servant. She is very quiet and honestly not the brightest, so she never had any human reaction to the things that he says. On other occasions, he's mentioned how he believed that beating kids should be allowed because it builds character if done correctly, and just terrible controversial things in general. This year, it was my husband Tom and I's turn to host Christmas dinner, so we invited my sister and her brother over for Christmas Eve dinner. My husband and I agreed that we would hold off on certain topics with Jack so that we don't trigger an outburst from him, and once they arrived, everything started out fine. Jack and my sister were being friendly, and their attitude was generally upbeat, and I finally thought that we might have a family dinner with no issues. Well, boy was I wrong. We were all having chips and cheese from the charcuterie board I had made while I was finishing up dinner, and I served drinks. I made Hugo's Trizzes, as they'd become my recent holiday favorite, and everyone else loved them as well. Nobody had really eaten much that day, and we were catching up and chatting about regular day-to-day stuff, but we were all very obviously somewhat under the influence as we were on our third drinks while still on an empty stomach. I remember that I was in the restroom, and when I came back, I noticed that there was some shift in the mood in the room. I realized that they were talking about the recent election, and Jack was saying some outright disgusting things about women to my husband Tom. Tom was arguing with him, telling Jack that it's not right to say vile stuff like that, to which Jack said, "How can you say that when your wife is straight up an off-brand Stormy Daniels?" The room went silent. I was in shock, Tom was in shock, my sister was in shock, and Jack was sitting there with a delirious smirk on his face that he always makes when he thinks he's outsmarted someone. Well, Tom was not having it this year, and he reaching across the table and slapped Jack right across the face. Let me just say, Jack is a little guy, and Tom is pretty big and works out, so Jack did not have any nerve to fight back, but he started screaming profanities at him and going off. The situation was terrible. We hadn't even made it to dinner. I looked at Jack and my sister, and told them that I thought it was best that they leave, and so they did. I was disappointed that the conversation had ended up disrespecting me, but was happy that Tom had my back, and instead of spending the night with annoying family, I ended up giving my husband a night to remember.